Here I am going to share with you a beautiful chat that I had with Lou Martin about everything that's happening in the world and all the metaphysical things that we're dealing with at the moment. And we weren't intending to record anything, but we just ended up having a chat that was recorded that I thought would be good to post. So I hope you really enjoy it. And Lou also shares a very beautiful poem as well. So please leave your comments below if you enjoy this. And also please remember that Lou Martin is offering a beautiful workshop next week in a few days. I'll leave a link below, which is learning tarot and the archetypes, and there are spaces available. And he's also offering with that a free 30-minute session with himself, which is a beautiful generous offer to go with that workshop. So if that resonates with you, please book in and enjoy this chat. Thank you. Have a beautiful day and hope to see you in the workshop.
This, to me, this is about the third or fourth time I've read this out loud. It just gets better and better. There's no title here, and as I say, the poet is Attar, Attar. So here we go. The angels have bowed down to you and drowned your soul in being. Past all plummets sound. Do not despise yourself, for there is none who could with you sustain comparison. Do not torment yourself. Your soul is all, your body but a fleeting particle. This all will clarify, and in its light each particle will shine distinctly bright. As flesh remains an agent of the soul, your soul's an agent of the sacred whole. But part and whole must disappear at last. The way is one, and number is surpassed. 100,000 clouds above you press, their rain is pure, unending happiness. And when the desert blooms with flowers, their scent and beauty minister to your content. The prayers of all the angels, all they do, all their obedience, God bestows on you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Isn't that stunning?
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
I'm printing that up and putting it on the wall. That's a keeper. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. But Ali, this is following such lovely people like yourself here, my friend. I'll share your lovely poem. That's I just put these little bits together and talk about things, and half an hour goes by in a flash.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, I think people need that. It's a sense of community. That's what I do with my Patreon too. We have a community chat, regularly, and we also do the soul healing group. But it's really important that people connect with energies that align at the moment, that they're compatible with, that feel in resonance. Because
Sure.
dissonance out there at the minute. Yeah. Sure. Brazil's been interesting, hasn't it? A lot going on there. But all those people, my God, the millions and millions that were standing up. Incredible.
Well, see, I'm glad we're recording this. I mean, maybe this is our next video here, because we can be a couple new age thingamabobs trying to make sense of the world's political scene. And you have your point of view, which I'm happy to hear and share, and I have mine. And to me, there are no good guys out there in office for the most part. There are some exceptions. There are some exceptions.
Yeah.
But even for example, the little I know about Lula and Bolsonaro in Brazil, Lula and Bolsonaro, I would vote for Lula myself. I don't find Bolsonaro sympathetic or environmental or progressive or very good on the vaccines or COVID. The list goes on and on. Yeah. He's a little too Trumpy for my taste, and as I've said, I'm not a fan of the Donald at all. Never have been. So, but I mean, all this stuff in the States right now, all this stuff with Elon Musk and Twitter and Matt Taibbi and Hunter's laptop, that's another can of worms for the other side to deal with. So
it totally is. And you know what? It's really good to be able to have conversations about these things, but, not be emotionally, caught up in it, so that if someone thinks differently to you on something, that you get, swayed or something emotionally, it's being able to maintain the, you know what I'm saying? The new sort of a sense of neutrality with it, so that you can have and you can honor one another's opinions. And I'm talking to the collective here, because people don't seem to be able to do that. When
you're right. Yeah. Carry on. No, you're doing fine. I'm right there with you. Carry on. Carry on.
So it's like, everyone has different opinions about everything. Nobody can have the same about every topic, and I think people get quite sort of caught up in the political side of things, but on some level the whole thing's a big illusion anyway. And when you've got two parties, they're both basically both the one arm of the same thing. They're not separate anyway. They're controlled by the same beings and the same people. So it's all just a bit of an illusion.
Yes, well said. Beautifully said, my friend. I mean, I remember in George Orwell's 1984. At one point we're hating these people. Then no, we were never hating these people. Now we've always been hating these people. And he's like, wait, who am I supposed to hate now? And it really is like that, isn't it? Divide and conquer.
It totally is. I remember reading that book. I think I was at school at the time, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so dystopian. It never happen. Fancy thinking that this is a reality, and then sure enough, here it is. You look at the in America, they've just released these machines that are robo-cops that can kill people, and in San Francisco, I think it was. It's like all this sort of stuff.
You're right. Sorry, they did vote against them. They did stop them from getting released, actually, but they were trying to do that.
Oh, that's
yes, they did.
Excellent.
Yes, thank God for that. Yes, but as you're saying, sorry to interrupt you, hon, but you're right. The government is pushing this agenda, 1984 on everyone all over the planet as quickly as they can.
Yes, that's right. So that's just, we all need to stand up in every way that we can, and decline this that's being pushed upon us. I mean, I think the things that we're seeing evolving now, that they're trying to push really quickly, and get them out as quick as they can, because on some level they know that the mass consensus is against them, the controllers, the dark people that are in charge. And so there's push, as hard as they can, because they're getting desperate. And so we're seeing all these, ridiculous things, like, for example, in England, they're cordoning off areas and saying that you can only go so far unless you have, your digital certificates, or your paperwork of
vaccine pass or green pass, or whatever,
to be able to pass through these different areas. And now they're saying that in Victoria they're wanting to state, in the most probably dystopian and tyrannical in Australia, they're saying that they're wanting to do that as well, and that they're looking at only being able to go 20 minutes from your local area and having everything in that space that you need, and not going much further than that, and all this sort of stuff. So we can see
people are not going to accept that, are they?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm surprised of how much they've accepted already, really, to be honest. The level of compliance has completely floored me, but but I think that hopefully more and more people will realize that just laying down and accepting everything is not the answer. They need
I agree. Yeah. Sorry, all I want to say, hon, is that I think they've bitten off more than they can chew, with, this whole, the whole game here of terrorizing the world, forcing everyone to take this experimental, mystery soup and stick it in their arm and see what happens, man, woman, and child, in every country, for every age and every condition. And, I think I do see people, people are not taking boosters any longer. They're not giving it to their kids for the most part, 90% of the population. There is a swing back in the other direction finally,
Absolutely. And I think that comes from the fact that people are hearing within their own circles, within their communities, all the horrendous adverse reactions and deaths that are happening. Because I'm hearing them all the time. A girl told me the other day she was about to massage a client. He didn't turn up, and she rang the wife, and the wife said he just had one of these and passed afterwards. So, we're hearing it all the time. And then another friend sent me a whole lot of information about all these things that had happened in her community. The list went on and all the ambulances are all out all the time and everything. So, people aren't hearing it on the news. They're not hearing it on mainstream media. So the only other way that they can know about what's happening is to be able to hear within their own circles and communities. And the thing is, that can only be suppressed for so long. And then,
exactly.
At the level that, we're hearing probably 1% of the true amounts of people that are being impacted by this thing, because it's more than people realize, and or that we're being told. But that's the way that it's sort of probably the biggest way that people are changing their perception on a government that cares and looks after them, and that the powers that be that are, parental figures that care about them, this is the only thing, when it hits home like this, that will shift a lot of people in their ability to perceive the reality around them.
Yeah, China, well said, honey. China is having the biggest protests in decades, because of all this.
Yes, totally.
Yes.
And aren't they? I saw them marching off some of the white quarantined beings that apparently aren't even humans, some of them, whether they're, duck clones or some sort of AI or something, but these, white quarantined ones, the police were marching some of them off. So maybe, that there's a takedown of all that over there. It's really hard to know because it's so particularly suppressed in China. But it's great to see it rising up. And, I would say to anyone that, the world is behind you, and we're watching everything that you're doing, and it makes a difference to the collective, every person in China that stands up. And, traditionally the Chinese have been the ones that have been particularly compliant, haven't they, really, with the way they've been taught in their culture to sort of just accept.
Sure.
I think the new generation, I'm seeing videos on the fact that they are just there's a whole huge percentage of the young people in China that have rejected the whole system, and they're not working, they're unemployed. And these are the energies that are going to shift the collective.
Sure. I agree. Brilliant. In America, we just had this midterm election, and whatever we think of, as we said, both parties, which both have many things to answer for at this point, what I saw, the joy for me was that all of the Democratic candidates, which would be my first choice, were young kids, men and women, every culture, every ethnicity, and really intelligent, really committed, community activists who'd grown up, signing petitions and fighting for, equal rights and protecting each other. And, these folks looked like a force to be reckoned with. And I had never seen anything like this in my life in terms of a wave of youth sweeping into office. Yes, it was. It was really, it is really hopeful.
Fantastic. That is so great to hear.
Yeah. But to come back just for a second, Hun, I think for both of us as spiritual, teachers and students of the deeper truths and working with spirit and striving to learn what that is about, the message I get over and over is being the peacemakers, but not, as with integrity, with speaking the truth, not compromising, not colluding, obviously, not selling out, our interest or our side or whatever, but finding the way that both sides can work together and what both sides have in common with each other. So we're not continuously playing this divide and conquer game that we're talking about here.
Exactly. I mean, it's such a tool of the dark, isn't it? To, in every conceivable way, to divide, genders, sexes, races, religions, whatever they can, whatever they can do.
Yeah, young, old, rich, poor. Yeah, men and women. Yeah,
Yeah. We just need to see through that and understand that this is just all a big ploy, and that the more that we unite with one another, and I guess that's transcending, judgment. And the core of when you judge others is when you're judging yourself. So the more self-love, the more we open our hearts to ourselves, we can love others. I mean, I'm doing a session today with somebody that you recommended that it is about, really opening my heart chakra as much as I can, because I think we need to work on ourselves consistently in every way that we can to really ride this wave in the best way possible and be a lighthouse for the people around us, because many are struggling at that.
Sure, hon. No, it's again, it's why I love and adore you, my dear friend, and why I'm always happy to reconnect with you, because we're seeing the same, burning need in the community. I just was at what they call in Ireland a friend's removal. Where before the funeral. And this was my postman here for about 15 years. Honest to God, one of the sweetest people I ever met in my life. He took the you-know-what. I'm in my kitchen studio, just on the other side. There was my front door. I literally begged him not to take the you-know-what. And first he got shingles, then he got cancer. And I just said goodbye to him and his emaciated body in his coffin, and saw his 4 kids and hugged his wife. And it's tough. It's very tough. Yeah, it's getting very, very, very intense. So, like we're saying, it's heartbreaking that we have to go through this. But clearly, we're going through this, whether we volunteered consciously or not, And
the more personal the connection to, the more it hits home. I've got many family members that have had multiple ones of these. So,
wow.
There's a level of you just sort of thinking, well, how am I going to ride through that? If it does happen, because statistically, everyone's feeling it on some level, and the more time goes on, the more this can, have its impacts, and the more it's going to be with us. So it's our ability, isn't it, to stay strong in the face of adversity, and to know that our spiritual essence is everything, and that's the key. Our bodies mortal, and they've got an expiry date, but our spirit is immortal, and it is our spirit that carries us through these times.
Beautifully said. That's right. So my guides say you have a mind and a body. You are your soul and spirit. So use what you have with what you are and be free.
Yes.
Give what you have to what you are and be free. So in other words, soul and spirit is eternal. Mind and body is our vehicle in this world and in these dimensions. And, as we were saying here before we got on, things are changing very, very quickly, in terms of the energies. We just, this last several months, the solar flares have been nonstop. The Schumann resonance has been going, absolutely wacky.
Yes, there was
Yeah.
actually 10 days of just like the most incredible electromagnetic sort of frequencies coming through that were pretty unprecedented, really pushing
Wow.
us in at a physical carbon-based level with our bodies, and that
Yes.
people just, crashed out in bed, just trying to integrate all the energies that were happening, the people really feeling it. So just totally be kind to yourself at the moment. If anyone's,
Yes.
wondering what on earth is going on, it's just everyone's feeling it.
Sure, honey. Exactly. And I think, again, it is, Medina, we're really being asked to heal our human shadow, to take full responsibility and be impeccable and in our integrity with, everything we are responsible for, and doing our human best and working with spirit to clean it up now, clean it up as much as you can, because on the solstice and afterwards, I think we're going to be like a toboggan team sliding down an icy Matterhorn.
So the solstice is in about a week, isn't it? And that is so well said, because the shadow aspect, I was listening to someone talk about this the other day, and it really resonated that it's actually a gift, because the shadow aspect illuminates everything that is not love. So anything that is fear or based on the other side of the spectrum to love is illuminated by the shadow self. And this is a gift, because when it's illuminated, you can see it. It's sort of like what's happening in the world. All the darkness is being illuminated, and then it's being transmuted. If we can't see it, if we don't know it's there, we can't sort of release it and
That's right.
allow it to go in love. So the shadow aspect, some people are intimidated by that or confronted and think, oh, I don't want to look at my stuff, but it's actually an opportunity. So look at the shadow aspect of the stuff that is not love. That is the stuff that is what we need to work on at the minute. Yeah.
I agree. Maybe you and I could do a program with people about this. I'd be very happy to, volunteer for that, because there's no doubt, this is like we're saying again about the collective, and our friends at the WEF, and our everyone getting the medicine that's going to protect them from the virus that doesn't exist, that is 99% recoverable. Why do we need medicine to protect us from something that's 99% recoverable? There's like no logic, only fear, no thinking independently, only do what you're told to do. So, I mean, when this is the way my guides say it, to the degree that you have owned your light, you have the strength and courage to face your shadow. When the shadow gets overwhelming, right, then we turn to the light and say, dear God, please help me, and that's when the light says, oh, thank you for remembering who you are, and that you have help, and that you are here needing our help. Boom, now we can shift things. Now we can heal things.
Yes. And on that note, on that point, it's the same as when you make the analogy that, when you look at the dark in the world, you can only look at the dark as much as you hold parallel light. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that relates to
I agree.
Made. Yeah. So the more light that you can hold, the more you can see the darkness, and you can see what's going on. And
yes.
That
fearlessness
matches, what you've just said. I really resonated what you were just saying then.
Thank you. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, let's have a think about that, because boy, I think here we are. We've just had the last full moon of 2022, and it was really, really, really powerful. And as I mentioned earlier, Monday is the 12/12. And then about a week after that, we come into the energy of the solstice. And, everything that I see in my own life just says, you got to clean it up. You got to clear it out. You got to forgive it. You got to take responsibility for it, and own it. Own your power. Own what you're here to do.
Yes, absolutely. I feel that people's soul missions are really being activated at the moment. They're really coming up into the fore for people. And it's like a really great time to be able to, you know, step into that energy, because when we step into our soul mission, it raises our frequency, and then that will help us be able to navigate through the coming times of intensity that you know, we can see are coming up before us. And so when you're doing the thing that is aligned with your soul, then you have greater ability to be able to go through that with ease.
Yes. A quote from the Course in Miracles that I read last night from a friend of mine, and basically it was, you know, just what you were just saying. The quote was, I don't have it in front of me and I don't have it memorized, but basically the message is from Jesus, from Spirit: everything that you are experiencing is a gift from the Almighty for you to remember who you are.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. And when we stop fighting with what's showing up in our lives and take this sense of empowered responsibility and enlightened humility, you know, what do I need to learn? What do I need to heal? What do I need to forgive? What do I need to face? What do I need to change my mind about, etc.? As we are more willing to do that, then, you know, the confusion and the veils really start to fall away. And then in our happiness, joy, and freedom, in our unconditional love, in our music and our high moments, you know, we're like, I love life. I love me. I love me being here in my life. You know, I want more. So the more we can keep coming back to a place of, you know, freedom and joy, the less we have to really be afraid of the unknown. You know, I'm just hearing, there's a Van Morrison song where he sings, "Let go into the mystery." And that is really such a beautiful way to say it, isn't it? That, you know, we're always going to confront the darkness. Is that our best friend, or is that something we need to be afraid of?
Yes. It's something that that we in a sense, it gives us the drive and the motivation to move forward when there's always something to work towards. I mean, if everything was just easy and simple, you know, what's the point? So it's like, we've got things to work with. Yay.
Sure. That's right. That's true. That's absolutely true. And also, you know, that's absolutely true. And also, as we can begin to wrap our minds around the idea that God means everything for good, even the terrible things, even the difficult things, even the challenging things. It's like, what is the good that God means for me in this challenging situation? And, you know, the one of the poets, I was mentioning my friend Ali Ray here, she published a book of poetry from a beautiful poet from Ethiopia who lives in the States now. His name is Guthima Roba. And I think his book that they did together is Song of Silence. And I'm always sharing, yeah, it's beautiful. I'm always sharing Guthima's poetry. I did 2 interviews with them on my YouTube there on Awakened Spirits Network. But his ground of being, this is an amazing guy. He grew up in Ethiopia and he was looking after the goats. And he was one of, I think, like 10 kids. And eventually he got, his brother helped him get into a school there as a kid. And he started to learn to read. And now he's working in the public library system in Minneapolis. And he's written these series of books. But his mysticism, his spirituality is always about coming back to the silence and coming back to the self and trusting that, listening for that, opening to that. And he's really kind of a modern Rumi. He's a beautiful soul, but it's a great message that we do have the answers inside of us as we learn how to really deeply listen and surrender.
And you can see how his beginnings, you know, as a child in Ethiopia, looking after the goats, he would have that energy surrounding him of just that sort of that stillness and that sort of like a stark quality. But that would be a great sort of beginnings of everything that he's come to teach, wouldn't it? You can see how that would be the core of it. Yeah.
It's a huge, yeah, it's absolutely, it's a huge journey. You know, you're reminding me also here, I was mentioning this a few mornings ago. I was a big fan of the film Avatar, and we've been waiting 11 years for the sequel, and it's finally coming out next week after 11 years.
Story about Avatar? Can I tell you a story about
Yeah.
I wrote a book for
Please.
like a year. I wrote a book for a year, and the main figure was blue, you know, a blue person. It had
Right.
the society got their energy from the trees. There were winged
Right.
like creatures that came in. It was all the stuff in Avatar. I wrote it in a book, and then I went to the movies with my daughter, and she'd read the book that I'd written, and I'm sitting in the cinema watching the movie, and I look at her and I go, "Bugger, can I say that?"
Well, sure.
Goes,
you know.
She goes, "Oh," you know, because everything
Right.
written about was on the screen. It was like, so
brilliant.
We tapped into the same consciousness, you know, and then after that,
amazing,
I thought, well, there's no point publishing that now.
Well, I'm sure your version is well worth reading as well. Anyway, it is like we're talking about our friend here who went from being a goat herder to a published poet and living in America and working in the city and all of that. And, you know, these huge journeys that all of us are taking in this lifetime, you know, it's my guides call this the lifetime of lifetimes, because there's so much that's available, put it that way. There's so much that's available.
It's like 50 lifetimes in one lifetime, isn't it? Yes. It also affords you incredible opportunities for growth. You know, if you're measuring your journey on the scale of consciousness, you know, we can jump up a lot in this lifetime on the scale of consciousness, whereas in previous lifetimes, you only ever generally would go up like one little section on the scale of consciousness within a lifetime. Now we can go right to the other side of the spectrum if we really put in the effort.
That's right. Absolutely true. And do you know this teacher from England? His name is Tim Wilde.
Yes. A lot of people talk about him. Yes.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he does a video. Monday he does a meditation, a guided meditation. Then Friday he does sort of an ascension report. And he's always out in the forest. He's in the same spot every time, and you know, rain or shine or whatever. And but yeah, he's very, very open-hearted, very gentle, very enlightened, powerful teacher, very humble. And yeah, he said basically his guides told him that 6 billion people would ascend in this lifetime. You know, so
yeah,
you know, I'm just making talk here. I have no idea, but that's stuck in my head when I heard him say that.
Beautiful. And there's so many versions of what it's going to be, you know, our future and so forth. So it's really just taking it inward and sitting with it and just feeling if it resonates as truth for you. And it's so important to do that at the moment, because you can have like 100 versions of the same truth, and then you'll be just completely scattered if you don't have some sort of core center within where you're able to define what that means for you.
Yeah. No, I agree, honey. I mean, I think the you know what in the arm that we've been referring to obliquely, that was a pop quiz from the universe run by the shadow of humanity to test everyone's ability to find and follow their heart, you know, to find the truth and trust it or not, you know. And sadly, it's kind of a clearing out process of people that are perhaps not ready to trust their truth for whatever reason, you know, and it's, you know, it's not to judge me or anyone as being lesser or greater. It's just, it's hard not to see it in that light on a spiritual level at some point, you know, that there has been a tremendous shift in consciousness around these energies.
Yes, there has. Gail Lucy from Israel, she talks about this, is basically if you have it, you're saying that you don't have faith in God. You don't believe in God. She said that that's what it basically means at a deep level. And if you're feeling that disconnection, it's very hard to move forward in the current energies of what's happening with the ascension and on the planet, if you haven't got that inherent connection.
Sure. I might agree with 90% of that, you know, and still say there are probably people that do still believe they have faith in God who have done what we're referring to here and thought it was the right thing. You know,
I'm
that's,
just
you know,
translating what she said. I'm not necessarily.
I understand. I understand. No,
That,
no, you're fine. You're fine.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
So I'm just saying that
with these sorts of channels, you know, you can when you say things, you know, people can take offense, but it's really good to be able to express all these thoughts and beliefs, because you know, then it allows us to really mull everything over and think about everything. If you hold everything back and you can't express these things, it does a disservice to the people that are listening.
Oh yeah,
someone out there that's listening.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm all for freedom of speech and everyone having their say and what each person has to say. Absolutely.
Yes, I know you're great with that. It's just that, you know, sometimes with, you know, you'll get little comments on your channel from people about things, but you know, I just really think that being able to go through life without judging every little thing that's happening. You know, people are so much in that judgment phase, and that's because, you know, there is so much stuff coming up for each person at the moment, and they're going into inner judgment, self-judgment, and then that's being reflected in how they respond to the external around them. So, you know, just people to be mindful of that, and not, you know, the inner critic that we all have. And then what happens is we put it out into the world, the critic that goes into the world then. So there's so much work I've been doing with clients at the moment on really being able to surrender and release and let go of the inner critic and just step into higher and higher levels of self-love and self-acceptance.
Beautiful. And well said. So my guides say there's discernment and there's judgment. And judgment is when we're reacting out of fear, unconsciously, reactively, you know, habitually, addictively. And that's a lot of the energy that we've been creating and experiencing the last 2 or 3 years with everything on the planet. And then the discernment is, as you said, let me go within and let me ask, what is the truth of this situation for me in this moment? You know, what do I need to know? What do I need to be aware of here, etc. And if we do that inner journey, we will always come back to the truth. But it really does take a lot of courage and a lot of patience and a lot of self-honesty and self-awareness, you know, as you're saying. And that is a skill that most people haven't practiced in our world.
They haven't. I was just going to say that, because before these 2 years happened, people were just on the wheel, you know, on the mouse wheel, going around with their jobs and, you know, their lives and da. But now, this last 2 years has given us a really strong message to step off that wheel and to learn to be in the world in a different way, where you're actually learning to go in and understand what it is that you stand for. You know, what are your beliefs? You know, what do you feel about life? How do you feel about everything going on? You know, what are your own, and this is not someone else's thoughts that have been told to you, or, you know, the mainstream media messages that have been coming in subliminally through the, you know, the TV and the ads and everything else. This is the connection to your genuine core of who you are and your soul. And so many people have not had that deep inner connection prior to this time, and it's like learning to live again.
Yeah, beautiful. Honey, you're saying it so well. I mean, this is the Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Avatar, these divinely told stories, your beautiful story, I'm sure, divinely inspired as well, of these,
Now in the bin.
truly, truly, well, yeah, there's more to come from you, my friend. There's no doubt. But I'm just saying these gigantic, titanic, dramas, which really, at the end of the day, is always comes down to what is sustainable, what is life affirming. And I mean, Matthias Desmet, who wrote his book, The Psychology of Totalitarianism, and Rian Eisler, who I read years ago, had a great book called The Chalice and the Blade, and others, they all say the same thing. And this is also the quote from Gandhi. He says, whenever I despair, I realize that every tyrant and every dictator always falls from grace. They always eventually lose their power. And it's because to exploit and to dominate, to lie and deceive, to manipulate and seduce people is inherently unsustainable. And there isn't a computer program in the universe that is more powerful than the will of God and the love of the goddess. So they're fighting a losing battle.
I totally are. Those energies are devolving energies. They sort of cycle and spiral downwards, and they get smaller and smaller. Whereas the light, it goes upward and it expands. So it's an energy that just will naturally at some point just self-destroy, those dark energies.
Yes. Well, yes, life is eternal. Consciousness and life are eternal, and the darkness is divided against itself. And that's, there's no honor among thieves is the common phrase that comes to mind. There are always people that are eventually turn on each other, because they're not honorable, they're not honest with themselves. So we have that to look forward to, but in the meantime, we do need to shine our light and share our love. And you are doing a magnificent job, my friend. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you again. Thank you.
Oh, it's been so lovely with chatting with you, and we weren't actually intending even to record anything, but then we got going, and here we go. We've got a video.
Perfect. I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly, Lou. I love you madly. It's always a joy to connect with you, Medina. You're an angel. Bless you.
Oh, thank you, Lou. And you similarly are doing the most incredible work on the planet. Beautiful universal service from your heart, and you're touching so many people and so many lives, and I love you very much as well. So
thank you.
So I will mention too that there is your workshop being offered next week, which is a learning with the tarot and archetypes. So there are spaces available, so please book in. And also the amazing thing is you've offered a free 30-minute session as well. And that will just be part of, the workshop payment. So that is very, very generous of you, Lou. And,
pleasure.
Really rush in and grab that. It's a great opportunity. So
thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Lovely.
And you're welcome. Thank you. So people are welcome to find me on my Facebook page, Lou Martin, and I do morning prayers, an hour live 4 mornings a week, and now I'm doing evening prayers, so that might fit better with the schedule there with Australia and other places as well. And come and find me, and it's always great to hang out with folks and meet new friends. So thank you.
That's beautiful. Well, you have a gorgeous day, my friend, and we'll chat really soon.
Thanks a million, honey. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Peace and blessings.
Lots of love. Bye.
Okay. You too. Bye for now. Thanks again.